So, Dr. Sanka, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. I've been really looking forward to today's conversation. I know you are the founder of Turilytix, right? And that is a startup that makes advanced AI accessible to all businesses of all sizes without needing to write a single line of code. So I'm very curious to dive into the details and your journey with the company today. First of all, let's start off from the company's name. So is there any story behind the name of Turilytix?
Hey, thanks a lot, Carol. Thank you for having me here. Uh, it's a big story, so it was like I was wondering what name to bring it. So then I started brainstorming myself and talking to my professors as well. I went back to my university professors. So I was more inspired by Alan Turing as a computer scientist and a Tesla, both of them. So then I had only mind is a T. Then my professor said like that's good, but compared to the keeping the people's name, but you need to use it something for a customer basis. So that's where is like a trust. So the T derived from a trust. Then U is a unique. Every business user or a customer is unique. So we have to provide a solutions unique. Then whatever the solutions we provide, it should be recommended. And I is next, I is comes is insightful. So that's where it's like even though it is bit difficult to pronounce, the first four letters derive from a lot of meaning in it. Trusted, unique, recommended, insights.
Right. So we should interpret the words from different letters, especially the first four, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So then lytics is analytics. So we most of the times we make use of a data. So it is analytics. So I took it out of analytics is lytics and put it. But last CS, if it is analytics CS, is actually when I did my research, is analytics also CS is a customer oriented solutions. So that customer and solution, it's our company is artificial intelligence. So
Yeah.
it's a artificial human way of thinking, right? So that X, if you look at it, it looks like artificial human. You see, the human actually we put it. So human is like a cartoon picture when we draw it. Uh, the way we put it, a human resemblance is like that. So that's where it's like it's artificial human. Is a customer would
Right.
be that. That's X.
Right. So essentially, this word is combining trust, unique, recommended, insightful with the last part of analytics. Then you are making X that really looks like
Yeah.
artificial human. Wonderful. That's a quite smart design.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, so
So
when you talk about trust, unique, recommended, insightful, I guess that's a very much associated with the vision you are having for the company. So tell us a bit more about what was your original vision for Turilytix, and also when you say, I know you mentioned a lot about the democratizing AI. So what does that actually mean to you?
I worked into various industries. So what we noticed is like we have seen is like enormous of data, tons of data available, and a lot of complex problems are available, especially talking into a manufacturing sector. But the people are not having properly addressing their problems, and they don't even have a data analytics team or a data science team, what we call it as, analyzing the data. So if you're looking at my idea derived from there, how do we solve that kind of a problems in a simple manner? Easy to solve the problems. If you take, let me give you an example, is Microsoft Excel. Today, if you look at it, Microsoft Excel can be used from the student to the CEO level. Everyone use it. I wanted to make that kind of, even if you talk about today, ChatGPT or whatever AI solutions, what we look at it, it is good, It is fantastic, but the problem is it is a generic. It is not solving the business oriented problems like manufacturing or a supply chain. What I wanted to bring a platform or a tool or AI, what we call it as today, I wanted to bring certain kind of a tool. It's just like Excel. Everyone can be just connected and throw their data and see the results. So this is where my meaning of democratizing AI means. So just give the platform or a tool to them. They have to just, as a layman, they have to connect it and use it.
Yeah, I was wondering because back
Okay.
then AI was not as common as it is today. So today, with the advent of ChatGPT, basically the AI's usage and adoption is completely different landscape compared to when you founded the company. So back then, I guess you faced a lot of challenges of persuading people to even use AI in their sector. So what type of skepticism you were facing back then, and how did you kind of overcome that initially and persuade your first few customers to use your solution?
You rightly said, actually, even though we started early of 2023, but the idea started 5 years ago. The skepticism is like even when I was a data scientist itself used to be a bigger challenges. Then COVID time, I had a lot of time, and we kept implementing and did lot of implementation got failed. So then I realized it. Um, what we noticed is the people's mindset as well. Don't tell me, show me the results, because AI people are not trusted. Even today, people are not trusting because they say that, okay, it's good, but how can it help us? Because as I said, like the paper manufacturing, if you look at it, that the industry is actually we have penetrated and we proven. So where we had a bigger challenges or better experiences are like uh, how can it help is our daily operations. So if it doesn't, then they are not shown any interest because they don't even wanted to bring it any new technology at all. That kind of a conventional making process. So what I did is in our one of the initial use cases, instead of saying we have a machine learning model or deep learning model, or whatever we call it as today's AI models. So what I did it, I realized it, we are not supposed to talk anything on tech. So technology is not going to help them. So how we can talk into a business and how can we talk it? This can help into their daily operations. What value I can bring to their table? So this what I realized it. So what I started is, okay, let's not talk about any tech behind in it. So let's connect it to your data and see the results. So that's where is like one initial case. So we connected the paper mission data and we showed them is like breaks is going to happen in another uh, 25 minutes. So it's really happened. That's where the skepticism broken. So it's like the moment they see the results and everything changed. And because in a paper manufacturing is one of the complex system is paper manufacturing, unlike another manufacturers, paper machine won't stop. So, but one time is a paper roll is a breakage, it happens. What happens is the entire production losses. Next to until to the next rolling, it is like a actual raw material will be wasted and find the final product also not there. So it used to be a lot of problems because it's like one raw material is also wasting and new production is not coming. So it's a two ways of loss, production loss and also raw material loss, because you are not stopping the machine will be continuous running. So every minute of downtime used to be hundreds to thousands of dollars. It used to be some of the machines which we have seen is like per minute is 1 metric ton, which is around $600 to $700 today. So what it happened is how we can save them. So when we shown them it's the real value of it, the magic it happened.
It's very interesting because you mentioned that instead of appearing to be very technical, listening to the customers' actually needs and solving their pain points, show them results are more important. That kind of goes against a lot of common sense. I would say misconception that startup world often have. We believe that startups need to appear having advanced innovation, technical, so you appear to be superior solution in the market. But what you are saying is that technical aspect of it comes second. Listening to your customer actually comes first, right? So you have to translate your technical solution into the language that they can understand, especially like the business language they can understand.
Exactly.
Wonderful. When I look at your website, I feel like the industry you are currently focusing on includes manufacturing, financial services, insurance, retail, and telecom. These are really the traditional industries. When you mention paper industry has such a complexity you have to navigate through, right? How do you make sure you have kind of the standard solution that's customizable across such quite different industries between financial industry, between manufacturing, financial, telecom, and retail? These are different type of solutions. Sometimes can be entirely different. Then how can you make sure you provide one kind of universal solution, but that's also customizable across all these sectors?
You rightly said is like see today we are facing a challenges also is like bigger challenges understanding the domain. So every domain, if you look at it, is a completely unique. Even within a financial sector, every bank may have different rules and regulations. So similarly, like every supply chain industry is different. Every manufacturing is industry is different. We see the synergies of every industry. Every industry, the synergy is one thing, data. Okay. So the data is a common synergy. The type of data is different, but the nature of the data is same. And type of inputs are same. And the type of outputs expectation is same. So we brought into a culture in our platform is that. So what are all the unique features are a common features for every industry? So that's where we built a wrappers. So we see our architecture is designed in a such a way that we call it as a layer-based architecture. Layer-based architecture means it's like a building blocks. So we brought into a concept of our product architecture. It's a kind of a building blocks. If you're looking at, let's take about houses in the US. It's like boxes, right? So you give your design, we assemble it. You give another design, we assemble it. So that's where is like we brought into a culture that we started a first foundation layer. The foundation layer we built it means like the data input taking. So if it is manufacturing data, it comes from a sensors. If it is financial sector, it comes from a customer data. So the data coming patterns are same. So how this data looks it, how to understand based on certain features. So what our AI understands is what kind of data it is coming at. But the data inputs are same. So that where it understands are the behavior of the patterns and it understands which layer I have to divert it. That's where is like our architecture, the base architecture, the foundation architecture is designed in uniquely to identify which sector of data is coming, what kind of layer it has to be triggered to generate insights. So that's where even though we have a base common platform, we have again separate verticals.
I know you had a pivot moment before you kind of made a pivot from a more service oriented model towards a more product driven model, like product driven platform. So is this kind of mindset related back to that pivot moment? Is this realization of this building this layer based architecture or building block structure kind of inspired you to pivot towards a product driven platform?
Exactly. See, services are good for survival. And but it cannot be scalable. So the pivotable of a product came from the need of a codifying of our learnings. So the risk, definitely, there are a lot of risk, long-term risk. If you're looking at it, product-based companies is one bigger challenge is we are entering into a jungle. We don't know the way. It's like unknown paths. But the big pivot learning lesson is it can be a defensible edge. So what my learnings are, even though it was a lot of a tough journey and the initial struggles, there are a lot of failures we have to see it. As I said, like I started 5 years ago of this company started my R&D work on this, but a lot of failures is like almost like a four implementations I had to screwed up. So what my lesson could be, first identify the what the customers needed, and identify this what is a long-term goal, and put it like, as everyone says that startup journey is always like 1,000 days journey. So 1,000 days journey, it has to be passed by. So there are a lot of obstacles, you can see it. So a lot of unknown steps you have to pass through. I'm really helping the customers saving their daily operations.
So we know that service modes and the product-oriented modes kind of face different set of challenges and obstacles. Number one being service modes, as you rightly mentioned, it's usually on survival mode, right? You cannot go too wrong. Service mode, you always have a bit of cash flow coming, but product often demands very heavy front R&D investment. What was that initial moment that made you want to kind of aha moment made you want to switch from service mode into product? Because I believe with the service model, you were quite comfortably sitting on the stable cash flow. So what was that moment like?
I always wanted to go out of comfortable zone and to do something empathetically thinking something. So of course, consulting firm as well, we are serving the customers, but it is not solving the longer vision of the customer. It is only solving the shorter vision of the customer. If you have a today problem, you just go and help them is kind of a consulting and helping them, but it is not solving the wrong long-term solution. Let me give you, I'm going back again is a paper manufacturing, which I've seen out of different industries I worked. Paper manufacturing is the one, uh, even today, I'm talking is even United States. The technology adoption, paper technology is very low. And many people don't know is like the paper industry is like a big business in the world. So if you're looking at a China and US are the highly producer of a paper manufacturers. So if you're looking at we are only looking at a paper manufacturing means is a white paper. No. So there a paper is required for a lot of things. It's like even you are talking about today, packaging, and you are using a tissues. Apart from that, the new conventional things changing to a different things is like a recycling things. But the problem is the technology adoption is very low, and people put it into mindset that the technology is not going to solve them. It is only can solve them is their experience. That's the skepticism and mindset they used to have it, until I've shown them as like this really AI can help you your daily operations, because their mindset is most of the paper machine operators, the production engineers. Most of the paper machines I have seen it so far, the people used to work 2 to 3 decades. They think they are the bosses of that paper machine. So those people, right? How if your service means we are only helping a short term. So when we want to engage them a long term, so only the product-based solutions can be help them into a once it can solve their real problem, it can take it into a longer direction and longer vision.
In this case, what's your recommendation or advice for the fresh founder? You know, when they just got started, would you recommend the product oriented path or the service oriented approach to get started? Because that's probably safer place to start with.
It's a completely subjective approach, but what I can tell you is like if they have a good investor background or a financial background, then they can start with a product that can give them a long-term vision. But again, at the same time, they should have a good vision as well. Is like what is their long-term, what the problem they are solving it, and it need to be resilience. Mainly is like resilience should be driven path to them. But if they don't have such kind of financial background, they can start with a consulting and generate certain revenue and can divert into a certain funds for a product. So it's like start with at least start with initial cash flows and move forward, and they can divert into a product oriented. Our own firm, we are doing a lot of uh, no code applications, which is going to be replace a lot of conventional
Mm.
way of thinking, conventional way of programmers, and we are kind of almost like replacing a data scientist.
Speaking of AI replacing traditional roles, are yourself scared? Like, Turilytix is one day going to be replaced by some new kind of AI agent developed by OpenAI itself, for example. I realize now the pace of development is so astonishingly fast that, whatever product you are on, probably a few months down the road, there's a risk that this is going to be kind of replaced by OpenAI's product. And there is a fear in the air, I feel like, in the startup world. So how do you feel about it?
See, if you start fearing, nothing will work out. So my question would be only one thing to myself is like not for the others. Am I into race? So we are all into a race. All should be horses. So we have to run every day. So we are also thinking a long term. My vision is always next 5 to 10 years. I know what to do it. So I'm also putting in my direction is like how we can take it. So we are also thinking a different agentic AI flows in our architecture. So my philosophy is that everyone may have a certain things. So one person is OpenAI cannot be rule the world, and OpenAI cannot be solve entire universe problem as well. So if we competing with the OpenAI, or if we are comparing with OpenAI, or if we are fearing with OpenAI, nothing is going to move forward. So what my stake is always thinking myself is always um, we should not worry about what is going to happen. And tomorrow is worry is like is like it's unknown thing. We
Mm.
don't know about tomorrow, but today we know it. Today it's in our hands. What we can do better for tomorrow.
So don't worry about things that you cannot control. Rather, the
Yes.
response and reaction you can have towards the unknown. And also
Yes, true.
knowing the risks and uncertainty, but do it anyway, because we have to trust our own ability to adapt, right?
True.
Wonderful. I also know that you once launched a product before truly validating the market, if I'm not mistaken. So is there any story behind that you can share with us?
We had a strong myth is that once we build it, it can bring a value and it can bring the success. But that myth is actually completely failed. So even though we built a very powerful product, but we could not able to convince the users because we did not understand the problems of what they really require. We realized is we need to adopt the customer first. Discuss with the customers, we sat with the customers, understood the problems, we validate with them. Then that brought into a different culture is like co-designing, co-owning things, that kind of a culture. Means like first we understand them. So once we do that right, it built into a long-term compound with customers. So it's like once we convince the first customer, they will be as our say promoters or a sales team. Uh, so that's helped us moving forward.
So coming back to this building relationship with your customers and listening to your customers' feedback, I believe you also said that building deep relationships at early stage before scaling is more efficient, is more effective than chasing rapid growth. Is there any nuances or colors you can share before this statement?
When we stepping into a customer shoes, everything changes. When we speak their language, when we talk about their own language, and when we make them to understand in a different perspective, at the end, actually, these days, actually, all the business users and customers, whomever we are associated today, what they speak is your tool doesn't just predict or it doesn't just doesn't solve not only our problems, it speaks our language. That's the way we brought it. So that's what is like one of the director has actually called another director in front of me, and he said like, this is a guy we are associated. You can engage this solution. It's very good. That's where we got two clients in that way.
Uh, do you feel like not all the customers are created equal? It's almost like the earlier customers are more important because they are at the stage where you are still developing your product. So by listening to them more closely and offering more kind of personal, customized solution, you kind of shape your product journey, and later on can be scaled easily, faster. Involve less personal service for future customers, for example.
So this early customers is always is like for us is like big innovators. I can say that because they are the one given me a lot of feedback. The shipping things and all, it used to be happen in such a manual decision makers. So those cases, what I taken is a positive approach of their hesitance, but I took it their experiences as our learnings, and then we put it into our models. And the second thing is we requested them is one thing to keep it in their mindset is like most of the people have one kind of fear in their psyche is that AI is going to replace them. So I said like AI is not going to replace. So if you look at today, Google Map is, if you look at Google Map behind is a lot of AI work involved in it, right? So similarly, what we convince them users are that it is not going to be a replace you. It is going to be change of your lifestyle. It is going to be a helping hand to you, and it is going to be a guiding tool. That's where it's like we started early customers hesitations all as a learning lessons. So we taken their feedback is a positive way of it. What I did is if I want to solve this and if you want to bring a change, I don't want it to sit with the director level. I wanted to sit with the user. I went personally, I traveled to different places. I went to South Africa. I went to traveled in India, I traveled in Indonesia, and different manufacturing sectors, supply chains. So personally, I sat with them and understood the pain points, note down, and then brought it into our research team. And we sat and how we can able to solve these problems.
Indeed, as I just said, early customers and users play a big part in shaping the product of startups, and they are really part of your learning curve. And also, as you rightly pointed, now AI is out there. No matter what we do, that's going to stay. That's going to stay. That's a trend. So what we can do about it is rather how we react to it and how we take advantage on that, rather than being fearful all the time, not doing anything, right? Okay, so my last question for you today is about prediction. Where do you see the no-code AI platform like yourself, Turilytix, having the most transformative impact over the next 5 years?
No-code platforms will be ruling the world because everyone wanted a no-code, and it can act as a Excel or a Google Map today, what people are using. Similarly, no-code platform will become like that. It is essential for everyone. Without Excel, nobody can does a job. AI can become as a necessity tool for every sector.
No-code tools will be so important, especially for non-techie people, right? That will no doubt accelerate the mass adoption of AI solutions. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Sanka, today for joining me.
Yeah. So one thing before I end, I wanted to mention is like what we started as a company as a different vision and start, but what my thinking taking forward is like how we can take a moment to make AI to be accessible everyone, practical and meaningful. That's where is like our journey will be as a different path is like. Always is our journey to be today if you're looking at we saved a lot of nightmares of uh, lives into operators of manufacturing. The same thing we wanted to take into a healthcare sector. So that's where is like a next my vision to, would be is like a taking into healthcare sector. AI is not a hype. AI is not a magic. It can bring a value. That's what I wanted to take it as a movement. And that way I want to democratize AI.
Very well said. We definitely look forward to the next milestone achieved by Turilytix. Yeah, thank you so much today for joining me, Dr. Sankar.